Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, this is a disclaimer. Everything that you're gonna see on this video is totally based on my personal experience, and I lack any knowledge about coding and AI things. So, really, take that as opinion, my fucking opinion, bases on nothing more than personal experience and the fact that I passed a long time digging around to see what the fuck was going on with this shooting through walls stuff. So, again, this is my opinion based on personal experience and what I have saw during my time playing the game and the games in plural that I'm like showing and talking about. Thank you. Now you can enjoy the video. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, first things first, if any developer end up watching this, look, first things is, I do enjoy the game. I'm really enjoying the game, but this fucking thing of sidestep is driving me crazy. And I know you're trying to fix, you're trying to make better, you're trying to make the feedback goes well for the people, and that's fine, I like that. But one thing, even that essay that you wrote on the blog didn't quite help much. It did raise a little bit more questions. It did not raise enough answers. And at the end of the day, at the end of everything that I read there, one thing ended up happening. There's one question that still got in my head. The question is simple, is why? Now, first I'm gonna try my best to first explain what was said on the blog, and understand that it's not that I'm trying to explain because I didn't believe the developer did a good job explaining, because I do believe on the blog post and probably on the manual, I didn't read the manual yet, I do believe they did a good work explaining if what I will explain to you right now is correctly. If not, then yeah, maybe you can say they didn't do a great job, but I don't know. Let's go for the explanation part of this video. God damn, this is gonna be awful. So, allow me to show you two screenshots. The first one depicts how the shot will connect, how the shot will render itself, and the second one, how it really happened, how the enemy fired the gun, and how it hit the target. Now, the first thing is, we need to understand them. The main problem is, the visual representation of the action is not what the game calculates. And I'm not talking that out of my own ass. In some ways, that is what the developer said on the blog. Not with those words that I just said, but with more smart words, maybe? I don't know. But here, on the first one, you can clearly see the position of the enemy, and you can clearly see, in theory, his line of sight, so in theory, he does not have a shot on the character. Now, the second one we see, then he literally just turned the gun and shoot. I don't know much about AK-47s, I don't know much about the power of the gun, and I don't know if the gun can penetrate 2 walls plus a filing cabinet. But in the way the game seems the things happening, is that what is happening? That's the way the game is showing to us the action, the calculations the game makes. But the calculations that the game makes are different. So that's what I'm going to show to you right now. That's kind of my take, the things that I took from the developer blog, and unifying everything then they place, I'm going to try to demonstrate you my vision of why I believe this is a kind of a problem-ish. So, this is my recreation of the scene, utilizing one of the most powerful softwares known to man, Paint. You can see them, I try to recreate the best, placing the objects that really matter. The tables, the file cabinet, the walls, the window, and the door, placing the two enemy targets, the two enemies, and the agent. Now, you can see this is what the second screenshot shows. How the shot rendered, how the action was shown to the player. But, as I said before, this is not necessarily what the game calculates. And there is where we get the sidestep and peek abilities and free sidestep and all the whole shebang that we're gonna be discussing now. Now, you can see this is what the second screenshot shows. How the shot rendered, how the action was shown to the player. But, as I said before, this is not necessarily what the game calculates. And there is where we get the sidestep and peek abilities and free sidestep and all the whole shebang that we're gonna be discussing now. So, in this version of the recreation, we are not yet on the 100% full approach, but bear with me because we are arrived at a position, at a place. So, we know about sidestep. The full ball is the enemy, the shooter at the case. So, the AI sees and he has an opportunity if he moves left on the grid. And, okay, it is a dodgy shot, but we already took dodge shots on XCOM and things like that, so fuck that. We can swallow that shot. You see, if all of that was the end of this history, if all of this would say, the developer, for example, said, for some reason, the sidestep is not rendering completely. The game's not rendering the whole mechanic, and because of this, sometimes you're going to be seeing the enemies shooting through walls. If we end up here, I would give thumbs up, yeah, whatever, sometimes that happen. It still raises questions, and I will show a little bit about the big problem that we're gonna have on this. But bear with me, if that was the end of the history, I would be okay with. 10 out of 10, get ready for the next round, let's complain about all other stuff. But here where the problem starts, really. So, this is the calculation that the enemy is doing. Now you're questioning yourself, what the fuck, the enemy is shooting on the window? It's not nearly where my character is. So why the fuck the PC is calculating then the enemy is shooting in that direction? Well, my boy, that's where the lovely thing called peak mechanics starts to shine. So, the fact is, not only the enemy has the ability to sidestep to all the directions shown before, during the enemy turn, your character will be constantly picking to all the other directions. Yeah. Sounds strange, huh? And again, there is where the problem really starts for me. Because now, this is the calculation it is doing, and in the end of the day, this is what it looks like. So, to the matter of fact, during the time you're on the enemy turn, your character has 4 more slots than he can be shot at. For some reason, in the alignment of the planets, if the sidestep of the enemy, of the shooter, let's put that, of the shooter, because this mechanic is for the player too, so your agents will be able to do that. So if the planets align in the right position, the shooter sidestep to the right slot and the target peek to the right direction, this shot connects. But for some reason, when this is demonstrated to the player, well, end up liking shooting to the wall. So, in some ways, that is the reason why the developer said, well, the enemies is shooting to the wall is not a bug is a feature. The bug is the game is showing the shot passing through the walls, but the feature is the enemy has a line of sight of your character. Now, with all of this being said, I want to ask one simple question. Why? There is not a single necessity of doing this over-convoluted way. The developer plays and posts some explanation, mostly because the fact that Phantom Doctrine is a more closed space where there's a lot of narrow corridors, there's a lot of tactical things of space where line of sight is difficult, so picking and so sidestep is a necessity. But as I said before, sidestep, yeah, I'm fairly okay with. But the problem here is when during the enemy turn, your character is literally moving out of to, for example, let's say from 1 to 4 other squares, giving himself to shoot. Now, allow me to give you the questions that this is raising for me now. First, sidestep triggers Overwatch? It's a very reasonable question, because in the end of the thing, the enemy is fucking moving. So, let's draw on another scenario, something the developer didn't address yet. Now, one of our agents, now on the scenario we have here, is Overwatch. Let's say that his line of sight is the green thing. There is another scenario, there is a little bit more, the line of sight is a little bit better, but let's think about that for a second. So, sidestep, generated step, should our character shoot him? Another question, for example, if the second enemy, the one who's already, by the looks of the video, already act, if his action was simply move, look to the window and Overwatch, who you would decide to shoot? Because peeking probably is a movement. And even so, for some magical reasons on the land of unicorns, if when he arrives to that place, he didn't trigger Overwatch, when is the exactly point in time that determines where the character starts to peeking? Because it's still in the logic the game makes is when you hug the wall or a cover, you start to peeking forward, left, right, up, center, down. You got the idea. You can only do on the 4 directions. You cannot do to the full 8 squares around your character. You can around the shooter, or in the case of the peeking ability, of the target. But when that moment starts, because for example, that can make someone stay there in the movement in a wall, and for example, if he ends the movement in the wall, it does trigger the Overwatch? Yes? No? Maybe? You see, that's the problem here. The problem is, this is a very over-convoluted way to fix a problem then we didn't have it. It's really... If I had to place one sentence to summarize all this mechanic and things, is fix until it's broken. And that's what happened, because in the end, the system itself, only with the... I don't want to tell sidestep, because in some way, I do believe picking was supposed to... Leaning is the XCOM answer to that. I'm misjudging the tree. So, XCOM does the same thing in some ways, although I don't remember if you can do right in the opening. Off the top of my head, I'm not gonna remember. But when you're hugging a wall, you can lean. So you would be leaning up and shooting to the fucking thing. Now, I doubt it because I never had the problem where I would say, well, fuck, this is bullshit on XCOM because I got shot through the wall. I normally would say, well, fuck, how the hell did I miss this 9.9% shot? Now, let me try to pick apart a little bit the examples the developer plays so to justify the mechanics in the way it is right now. The first example shows ball 1 and 2 being targets while the blue ball being the shooter. Now, the developer clearly explained and it's frustrating not have line of sight ball 2 while you have from ball 1. But allow me to say then if we only had the sidestep mechanic, we would have line of sight of both, wouldn't we? And again, in a immersion sense of the thing, does not make sense then neither of the two targets would be moving forward and backwards. Now, I know they don't because they are not hugging cover, so they are not peeking. But you see, only with one part of this mechanic, things start working better. Okay, this one is a little bit of idiot, but fine. Uh, there is a wall in the middle of nowhere, and yeah, we are like creating scenarios. There is one in a million, but this is a wall in the middle of nowhere, and because without the sidestep, then we were not having that. Now, again, the problem is not the sidestep. Oh, of course, in the end, they shove the peak has this free sidestep, but you got the idea. To the purpose of this video, I'm dividing the two things. Here you can clearly see, if only the blue ball could lean or sidestep again, yeah, he would have line of sight of the target. So then again, there is not the problem is not on the shooting of the shooter having this ability. The problem is the target having this disadvantage. So you see, yeah, that's where problem starts to going around. Here, yeah, I kind of had a similar thing on this one because it's plausible. Here is where the mechanic starts to become a little bit plausible, but in this highly special way, because they are using a hedge or a bush or something like that, then can be shot through as example, and because of that, that's why I would agree. But even so, in this example, the shooter could literally just lean up and down and he would have the line of sight of the guy. So there's no need for peeking up and down, you see? But for this example here, yeah, there is when things start to be getting a little bit muddy because now he does not have line of sight, and he would not even have line of sight if both of the characters like do the sidestep upwards or downwards. It wouldn't matter. In the end, they would not have. And that would break the immersion, so you cannot shoot through a fucking bush. But then, in a perfect world where developers have all the time and all the resources to make the game they want, they would simply turn the bush, the hedge, or something like that on a I don't know, give different rules for the cover, for the object, I don't know. Maybe it blocks line of sight if you're not in combat, but if you are in combat, it just doesn't do shit. I don't know, just throwing the ball here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the video. Like it or not, there's no big conclusion if you're expecting the great answer to all, and here's how things go. Well, I explained it the best that I could. What? I explained for the best of I could what this is. What is the problem? What is sidestep? Why this is happening? Why everyone is thinking that enemies are shooting through wall? Simply because the game is calculating something and showing to the player other thing. That was my understatement. If I'm wrong, leave in the comments. If the developers end up seeing this and they believe they saw a way to pick apart my thing, my line of sight, my line of thought, line of sight. God damn it. Say that to hit me up. I'm okay on correcting any mistakes that I made during the video. I'm more than happy to correct any mistakes that I do during this video. Because at the end of the day, even through all the bullshit and all the fucking thing that I'm mad about, I'm screaming at times, I'm pissed off because some bullshit happened, because I cannot kill someone with a headshot, like a point blank headshot. I cannot kill an enemy agent while in concealment. Yeah, I'm okay with. I like the game. I like take the files, pull the strings to unravel this giant conspiracy. I like connect the dots. When like all the pieces fall in the right places. God, this game is great. But that's the thing. Then come one little thing and pull a block down there, and like a Jenga tower, all fall down and you're pissed off again. And yes, this game has amazing moments. One of my missions, only two agents go there. They breached like in sequence like 2-3 rooms, I don't remember. Got the VIP and got out. Not fucks were given that day. It is cool. It is great. When, as I said, when all the fucking pieces like fall on the puzzle correctly, this game is so good. But there's little things and it's still frustrating me to no end. This line of sight is the big one because, not gonna lie, combat is not enjoyable. I really don't see myself enjoying combat this time in this game. The enemy will have a shot no matter what. Cover does not seem to work sometimes, and mostly probably will be because the peeking mechanic. Distance sometimes can be broken. I don't know if we'll be on the great fuck up, on the big fuck up, I don't remember how I titled that bullshit. You're going to see the character like shoot my character through windows, a vending thing, whatever the fuck, and 2 cars, and a baseball stadium, and a football stadium, and a bus, and was able to shoot and like take a reasonable amount of damage, while my guy literally takes the shotgun and lean to the right, place on the back of the guy, and shoot and like do 7 damage. Because as I said, when the things are going right, great, the game is amazing. But when the things are when one little thing throws the, like, you throw the rock on the wheel, and all fucking thing falls apart. You throw the rock on the gear, for fuck's sake. And I love the game. I'm not going to deny. I wish all the best for the developers. I wish they fix everything. Even if it's not the way that I want, because to be fair honest, if it was not obvious in the video, I would wish Sidestep for the target was literally removed from the game, allowing only the shooter to have the, and if in my way only the shooter have a lean mechanic, meaning then he would have to be hugging a wall to do so. But then again, that's my vision, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the episode. I hope I was able to explain reasonably well, probably not, how line of sight and line of fire work. How this entire bullshit goes around and turns around. And let's just hope the developer fixed the game. And if you like the video, like. If you dislike, well, dislike. Comment if you find a mistake on my video. Because if any like comment then you can point there was a mistake on any part. If you would be kindly to left a stamp, like a timestamp, I would be pinning the comment with the correction on there. So, because, well, I would prefer to have a video that is, like, correct. But, again, as I said, this video is nothing more than the way I understood the game, and even through the developer blog. So that was my take on it. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. See you on the Let's Play, because that fucking thing gonna take a goddamn long time to finish.